Welcome, Wanderer. My name is Silas, and I'm your storyteller here at Slumberlight Tales. Tonight, there's a quiet kind of magic waiting for you. One that doesn't rush, doesn't sparkle too brightly, and never asks you to do a thing except follow where the gentlest light leads. It begins the way these nights often do, with your room dim, your blankets familiar, and your thoughts less cooperative than you'd like. They drift in slow circles, tugging at old conversations, unfinished plans, little worries that insist on showing you their sharp edges in the dark. You shift once, then twice. The pillow stays soft, but the inside of your mind keeps pacing. And then, between one thought and the next, you notice something new. A hairline seam of light at the base of your door. Not the hard white of a hallway lamp, not the blue of a phone screen. This is warmer, honey gold, as if moonlight has decided to melt and pool along the floorboards. You sit up, curiosity moving you more gently than restlessness ever could. The room remains quiet, but that line of light grows a little brighter, as if pleased to be seen. It slides forward, just an inch, like a shy invitation. You pat across the rug. Your hand finds the doorknob, cool metal under your fingers. When you open the door, you don't find your usual hallway. You find night. Not outdoor night. No street lamp glow. No distant cars. But a velvet dark passageway that smells faintly of warm stone and something floral, like a cactus bloom that opens only when everyone else is asleep. The air is mild against your skin, and the honey gold line continues ahead of you, drawn across the ground like a ribbon. It doesn't flare, it doesn't demand, it simply goes on. And so you follow. The passageway turns, and with each step, your everyday sounds fall away. The house noises you know so well, the hum of a fridge, the small clicks of settling wood, fade as if someone is turning down a dial. In their place comes a softer hush, as if the world has been wrapped in linen. The ribbon of light guides you through an archway that wasn't here a moment ago. Beyond it, the ground shifts beneath your feet, planks to packed earth to fine sand that's still warm from a sun you didn't witness. Ahead, dunes roll like gentle waves frozen mid-sigh, and above them, the sky is crowded with stars, so many that darkness becomes a backdrop rather than a void. The light ribbon climbs the nearest dune. You climb with it, your steps sinking and lifting, as the sand yields politely beneath you. At the top, a breeze brushes your cheeks, dry and clean, carrying the scent of distant date palms and a trace of spice. And there, tucked between two dunes, as if the desert has been cupping it in its hands, stands the Observatory. It is built of pale stone that gleams softly, stitched with bands of glass that catch starlight and turn it into a low, steady glow. Its dome rises smooth and quiet against the sky. No harsh angles, no glaring lights, just a calm structure made for looking up and for setting things down. The ribbon of light pulls at its door, like a patient companion, and the handle waits beneath your palm. The door opens with a sound like a page turning. Warmth meets you first, not heat, but the welcoming temperature of rooms where lamps have been lit for hours. Rugs cushion your steps, thick and woven in patterns that look suspiciously like constellations. The air carries cedar and polished brass, and, most enticing, steeping tea, sweet as dates and bright with cardamom. A lantern waits on a hook, its flame steady and low. A kettle hums beside it, and 2 cups sit ready on a small table, as if this moment has been expected all along. A figure moves through the lamplight, slow and unhurried, a robe the color of dusk, a face calm in the way of someone who has spent a lifetime befriending the night. They don't interrogate you with questions. They simply incline their head and pour. The cup warms your palms. The first sip tastes of dates, rich and mellow, followed by orange peel, then that soft, lingering bloom of cardamom that makes the chest feel quietly lit from within. Your guide watches only long enough to see the warmth reach you, then turns, already walking, and so you follow. The corridor curves, lined with star maps rolled in leather and brass instruments, resting like sleeping animals. Rings within rings, lenses with closed eyes, a compass that points upward. Through tall windows you glimpse dunes outside, silvered by starlight, stretched into silence. A stairway spirals gently along the wall. Brass rails feel warm beneath your fingers, as if the building has been holding its comfort for you. You climb, cup in hand, and the scent of tea follows like a small lantern. At the top, the heart of the observatory opens wide. A circular chamber, a pale stone dome overhead. In the center, a great star lens set into a ring of brass, smooth glass like a still pond. Above it, a narrow slit in the dome reveals a slice of sky. Along the floor, thin lines of inlaid silver map the room like moonlight drawn into geometry. The honey gold ribbon that guided you here slips in behind you and curls around the base of the lens, then grows still, content. Your guide approaches the instrument and opens a small drawer in its pedestal. Inside lies a pair of gloves, thin as moth wings. They offer them to you without a word. You pull them on. The fabric fits as if it's been waiting for you. Your guide points to 3 dials, brass wheels engraved with tiny stars, and a small lever beside them. The message is simple: align the nights. You turn the first dial. The brass moves with a quiet, satisfying resistance. You turn the second. A faint glow blooms within the lens. You turn the third until it settles into place with a soft click. Then you place your gloved hands on the glass. You feel warmth, like warm stone after sunset. A low hum travels into your bones, not a sound so much as a steadiness, like the world finding its center. Above, a cluster of stars brightens, and then, slowly, gracefully, one unhooks from the sky and drifts down into the chamber, trailing a thread of pale light. It hovers over the lens, not a sharp point, but a small luminous seed with a gentle halo. Another follows, then another. Soon, a constellation is formed inside the room, floating close enough to touch. It is unfamiliar and strangely intimate, like a shape your mind has been tracing in the dark without realizing it. At the chamber's edge, a low table waits with a velvet black tray, a fabric that seems to drink light. Beside it, a tiny brass frame holds a label card. Your guide gestures. Lift, carry, set down. You reach up and cup the first drifting star. It has no weight, and yet it has presence, like holding a warm bubble that will not pop. You carry it into the tray and set it down. The velvet accepts it, dimming its glow until it rests like an ember banked for later. You return, take another, and place it beside the first. Back and forth you go, your steps tracing the silver lines on the floor. The work is simple, yet oddly satisfying, like tidying a room that has been cluttered for far too long, but without any judgment, without any urgency. Each star feels like a different kind of midnight cargo, a worry made soft by being held, a conversation that doesn't need revisiting at this hour, a list of tasks that can wait for daylight, a memory with sharp corners that becomes smooth the moment it leaves your chest. The label in the brass frame changes as you work. The ink appears like starlight writing itself, each card a small spell of permission. Not tonight, not now, not in the dark, but later, in kindness. When the tray is full, your guide slides into the pedestal drawer. The drawer closes with a gentle click, final, but not severe. Nothing erased, only entrusted. Your guide opens another door, and you follow into a room full of drawers, dozens and dozens, each with a tiny etched symbol, crescent, spiral, dot within a circle. The air here is cooler, smelling faintly of clean linen and night air, and the drawers seem to hum with quiet sleep. Your guide pulls one open. Inside is not paper, not tools, but a fold of darkness, velvet black, deeper than shadow. They lift it out and shake it gently. It becomes a small pouch. They place it in your hands, then point back toward the chamber. A new task, quick and clear. When you return to the lens room, more stars have begun to drift down, smaller ones, scattered, as if the sky has been shedding little leftovers you didn't even know you were carrying. You hold the pouch open and move through the chamber, catching them one by one. A tiny spark that feels like an obligation you accepted too quickly. A faint glow that feels like a question you never answered. A pale fleck that feels like the pressure to be perfect. Each one slips into the pouch with a soft pulse, then quiets. You don't have to examine them. You don't have to solve them. You only have to gather them, like loose buttons before they roll under the bed. When the last small star has been caught, the air in the chamber feels smoother. The sky slice above looks wider, calmer, as if it has unclenched. Your guide takes the pouch and carries it back to the drawer room. They choose a drawer marked with a simple symbol, an open circle, and place the pouch inside. The drawer closes as softly as eyelids. Your guide offers you something small, a brass token etched with a single star, cool in your fingers, steady, a reminder that this place exists and that the night can be organized without being fought. They place it in your palm, then close your fingers over it with a gentle press. Your guide doesn't linger. They turn immediately, robe whispering against rugs, and lead you through a side door you hadn't noticed before. One cuts into the curve of the dome like a hidden moon. Beyond it, a gallery arcs outward, hugging the observatory's round body. The floor here is covered in deep, springy runners, so your steps make almost no sound. Lamps shaped like tiny crescents glow along the walls, milk white and low, casting a light that feels like it was designed for tired eyes. The air smells different in this wing, clean linen, a hint of lavender, and something mineral, like warm stone cooling after day. Along the outer wall, tall windows look straight into the night. The desert beyond is a sea of dunes, and the sky above is vast. But as you walk, you notice certain clusters of stars that seem to push forward, bright, crowded, loud in their closeness, constellations that lean. Your guide stops at a cabinet of shallow jars and slides one open. Inside are spools, dozens of them, each holding a thread of light, wound neatly like ribbon. Some threads shine pale silver, some glow soft gold. Some are dim as mist, barely there until you look closely. They place one spool into your hands. It is cool, smooth, and oddly comforting, like holding a polished pebble that has been warmed by a pocket for years. Then your guide walks on, and you follow, spool cradled against your palm, until they stop at the first window. They gesture to the bright cluster outside, then to the spool. You understand. You lift the end of the light thread and pull gently. It unwinds without resistance, sliding across your gloved fingers like cool satin. You raise it toward the window, and the thread responds as if it knows what to do, stretching, thinning, widening, becoming a veil. You drape it across the glass. The veil settles, and outside, the two bright stars soften at once. Their edges blur into a friendlier glow. The constellation remains, but it no longer presses its face against the night. It steps back, polite, quiet. A small relief moves through you, subtle but real. Your guide nods, and you walk to the next window. Another cluster leans here, different shape, different insistence. You unwind more thread. Drape, smooth it with your palm. The veil takes hold, and the sky calms again. Window by window, you move along the curve of the gallery. Unwind, drape, smooth. The tasks are simple, but each one feels like closing a door softly instead of slamming it, like dimming a lamp rather than switching it off, like telling the night kindly that it can whisper. At one window, the constellation outside is bright enough to cast faint shadows on the dunes. You draw a thicker thread, gold instead of silver, and the veil that forms is warmer, deeper, like honeyed glass. The brightness settles into something gentle, and the shadows on the sand soften until they look like blankets. At another window, the stars are sharp as pins. You choose a thread, dim as mist, and when you drape it, the sky becomes velvety, the pinpricks turning into soft embers. You walk, you work, the gallery carries you forward into a slow arc, and with every window you veil, the night beyond looks more spacious, less crowded, more breathable, without anyone needing to say so. Halfway along, you pass a niche, holding a shallow bowl of dark stone. From it, a thin stream of starlight pours into a basin and disappears as if into an unseen drain. It gives off a quiet glow, and the sound it makes is like distant surf, soft, constant, soothing. Your guide lifts a small ladle and scoops a spoonful of starlight. They pour it into a narrow groove carved into the floor. The starlight runs along the groove like a living line, flowing ahead of you. A path, drawn fresh. You follow it to the next cabinet, where your guide opens another drawer. Inside are tiny glass weights, smooth beads that glimmer faintly like captured dew. They hand you a few. At the next window, you drape a veil, but this constellation keeps trying to brighten through it, the way certain thoughts insist on returning. Your guide gestures to the weights. You press the glass beads gently along the bottom edge of the veil. They cling without stickiness, anchoring the gauze of light in place. Outside, the bright cluster finally settles, lulled into calm. You continue, bead by bead, window by window, until the gallery's curve brings you to a final set of doors. These doors are tall and pale, etched with a star map that looks like a spiral. When your guide pushes them open, cooler air spills out, night air, clean and crisp. A rooftop terrace. The observatory's dome curves beside you like a rim of a bowl, holding you inside the sky. Lanterns no brighter than fireflies glow at the terrace edges. The desert spreads out below, dunes like quiet waves, and overhead, the stars feel close enough to touch. Yet, after your veils, they no longer lean. They watch from a respectful distance. At the terrace center is a low platform with a circular stone disc, etched with faint constellations. Around it sit 3 brass bowls, lined with velvet black. Your guide gestures to your brass token. You take it out and place it into a small recess at the disk's center. The stone warms under your fingertips, and the etching brightens. Lines appear, connecting points of light that weren't seen there a moment ago, forming a new constellation above the disk, one that seems to mirror the shape of your own restlessness, now organized into something quiet and beautiful. Not dramatic, not urgent, just arranged. The constellation lowers slightly, hovering over the platform like a gentle lantern. Your guide slides one of the velvet-lined bowls toward you and places a pair of padded tongs beside it. Another task, another steadying motion. You lift the tongs and reach up. This constellation doesn't resist being dismantled. It offers itself piece by piece. You lift a star, cool as night air, and set it into the bowl, where it dims to a calm glow. You lift another, and another. Each placement is a small, satisfying completion. Your shawl's beaded edge clicks softly as you shift. The blanket around your shoulders keeps the rooftop breeze from turning sharp. The lanterns blink like sleepy eyes. You work until the hovering shape has been reduced to a few final points of light. These drift closer to your hands, as if wanting to be placed with extra care. You set them down, and the last connecting line dissolves into the air like mist. The sky overhead remains wide, as if someone has cleared a cluttered ceiling and left only the gentle, necessary lights. Your guide gathers the bowls and opens a cabinet set into the dome wall. Inside, shelves lined with velvet wait like nests. The bowls slide in, the door closes, contained, held, and safe. Then your guide lifts the kettle again, because of course, the tea follows the work of wonder, and pours a small refill into your cup. The steam rises and is carried away by the desert night. You sip, date sweet warmth, cardamom hush, orange bright softness. A quiet triumph, the kind that never needs applause. And then they walk you back down. The stairway spirals, and the observatory's rooms pass by again. Shelves, lanterns, star maps, each one quieter now, as if the building is already settling into its own sleep. At the door, the honey gold ribbon waits on the sand, curled like a friendly creature. Your guide lifts a hand, not a farewell so much as blessing, and you step out into the desert night. The ribbon unfurls and glides between dunes. The sand is cooler now, and your footprints fill in behind you, as if the desert prefers not to hold on to anything for long. Ahead, the sand veil appears, a curtain of fine glowing grains, falling in a steady, gentle stream. You step through. The grains slip past your shoulders without clinging, warm for a heartbeat and then gone. The scent of dunes fades, the familiar quiet of home returns. The ribbon becomes a thin line along your hallway floor again. It slides under your door. You follow it into your room, and it curls at the base of your bed, dimming until the last honey glow disappears into the dark. You slip beneath your covers The brass token rests cool in your palm for a moment before you set it on your bedside table, where it will wait without asking anything of you. Outside your window, the ordinary night looks the same, but inside you, the sky is different. The louder constellations have been softened. The midnight cargo has been lifted and stored in velvet drawers. The loose sparks have been gathered and tucked away, safe and quiet, until a kinder hour arrives. And now, there is only the gentle, enchanted hush of a night that knows how to hold you. There is only the soft certainty of being done. There is only rest. So sleep well, my dear wanderer, until the next story meets you once more.